To start off, I should be honest as to why I chose this film to do my presentation on. It had the word naked in the title, but believe me, it's not what you may think it is. The film starts off by talking about the holy men of India. These are the yogis, sadhus, and the babas. They are scattered throughout India, but all seem to meet up at the Ganges River for a special ceremony that I will talk about later. As of 2005, there are approximately 13 million of these holy men living in India. That may seem like a lot, but let's remember that there are about 1.25 billion people living in India. That is barely 1% of the population. These holy men have decided to leave all of their worldly possessions behind, and they mean it. They no longer see the need in clothing, family, or even food. Their bodies are just considered vessels. In fact, the reason you see ash on their bodies is to signify that they are only temporary and can return to the earth just as easy. And you can't just become a holy man. It comes only through the mercy of the Lord, for there is a higher calling for these men. They proclaim that life of the holy men is to do only good for others. They must live pure lives filled with self-control, free from anger, love, temptation, etc. The reason that they must live their lives this way is because they believe that they can mitigate the sins of others. Really, other people come to them and hand over their sins so that the average person doesn't have to bear that burden. Granted, the holy men admit that people do not overuse this privilege or else it could belittle the process. Now back to the location I spoke of earlier. Allahabad is where all of the yogis, sadhus, and babas come to take part in the holy bath. It is said that during this time, Mother Ganges, the river, is at its strongest. What I mean by that is if you bathe in the river during this time, you can wash away the sin of others and yourself. Being that the holy men carry so much burden of sin, they must find a way to mitigate it, and this is that way. This is also said to free them of the cycle of rebirth. This occasion happens every 12 years, which ironically enough, just began this last Sunday, February 10th. This map shows approximately where Allahabad is located, and a little more zoomed in shows the river that the holy bath happens in. Now honestly, I had a rough time trying to find issues at the different geographic scales, but here goes. From what I understand, most of the holy men live off of the land and try to avoid eating anything that has been infected with chemicals, if they eat at all. For instance, there was one man who did not eat anything at all. He mainly just drank tea. They all live off of charity if they need additional funds, but they said they give more than they spend when they do get money. At a national level, they seem to be pretty well known. There are still many people who believe that this is a way for them to mitigate sin by visiting the yogis. This can be difficult as the holy men travel so that they do not get attached to any one place. So it may be difficult to find a specific one if you're looking for them. The other thing is that makes it difficult is that there have been a significant decrease in the yogi population over the past few years. In fact, the main holy man stated that if you speak of the yogis in about 10 years, he assumes that nobody will know who they are. The global level was much more difficult for me. While I don't know that these holy men affect the rest of the world too much, unless you believe in their practices of course, I do think that they have strong feelings about the rest of the people on earth. They made statements like, things are out of balance and people are creating so much evil. They went on to say that they feel that there's too much evil for them now to do any good, and they feel afraid that nobody is listening. Even though I didn't find immediate global impact, it is interesting to note that Sunday's pilgrimage to the river, 36 people died in a stampede. It seems as though this was caused by a footbridge that collapsed, which caused the stampede. This event is now causing a political stir and controversy between the police and the people. This documentary was created by Paula Faust. A little of her background includes her being sent to Nepal as part of a college study program. While there, she was caught in religious riots where Hindu people were seeking out to kill those of another religion, the Sikhs. She was determined to understand how such peaceful and tolerant religions could resort to such extreme violence. She had directed and produced a total of 4 documentaries with all similar themes. I think that she has just lived the life and wants to understand more and shed knowledge to others about the subject. This is my reference list. I thought it was interesting to see the timeline of events through different articles. On February 7th, the Los Angeles Times talked about what the pilgrimage was going to be about. On February 11th, Yahoo News Malaysia reported on the 18 confirmed at the time that had died as a result of the stampede. And on February 14th, the Times of India spoke of the aftermath and conflict that had arisen because of the event. I guess it's a little more global than I initially had thought.